For all your Canadian immigration needs, hiring an immigration lawyer has its benefits. He can appeal for you in the Federal Court of Canada and fight for you.
Well, that's a very interesting question. Perhaps I shouldn't be answering this question. It should be someone who has used both an immigration lawyer and an immigration consultant. But since you asked me, I'll give it my best shot. I do get asked, what is the difference between a consultant and a lawyer? Because a lot of people are they don't know. They think a consultant is a lawyer, especially if people advertise their law credentials from back home, from wherever they come from. People think, oh, such and so is a lawyer. But I also get asked a more interesting question, which is, why should I hire a lawyer? So I think I'll answer the question in that regard, so that it's not seen as me bashing consultants, because that's not my intention at all. In Canada immigration, the government will deal with an applicant if the applicant applies his or her on her own, or if an applicant retains someone, pays someone to represent them, then that representative has to be either a lawyer who is in good standing in one of the provinces of Canada, so called to the bar and still practicing. And second type of person, representative that immigration will deal with, is consultants, but not every consultant. Consultants who are registered by CSIC, Canadian Society of Immigration Consultants. Immigration law is one area of law, just like for family law, divorce, criminal. One would not just go to court and say, I represent myself, or hire someone off the street. When you have a lawyer, the degree of care, the degree of professionalism that is involved, that is required of a lawyer, is we have to operate at a very, very high level, high standards, because we are so heavily regulated. We have strict code of conduct that we have to comply with. If we don't return phone calls, emails, there are strict rules. People can report us, and we don't allow to accept cash and not give receipt. All those things, we have to charge taxes, remit taxes. But all in all, what you get out of a lawyer is not just the ability to interpret and help you navigate the complex immigration system. What you get is years of legal experience and expertise. I'll tell you why many people hire a lawyer. Although they can complete the forms, do everything, all the information is available on the internet. Citizenship and Immigration Canada, CIC, has an excellent website. But remember, whatever they tell you, that's the interpretation of the law as seen by CIC. So many times there are people who apply by themselves. Many times we apply for people. So for instance, as a skilled worker, applications are rejected because the visa officer sees things differently. This is where, if it was a lawyer who represents you, anything goes wrong, that lawyer will go to court for you. If I assess you as qualified to immigrate to Canada, and tomorrow, a month down the road, a visa officer says, well, your work experience does not match what the law says, etc. And if I assessed you as someone who was eligible, I'll go to court. And I have gone to court for many of my clients, and I have won many times. When we deal we take a matter to the federal court, when we're dealing with government lawyers, they see that the visa officer is clearly wrong. So the ability to have someone who can fight for you, not just send the form in and follow up, who can follow up vigorously with the embassy, who can cite the law, who can cite the legislation, the regulation, and if need be, go to court. Lawyers have done wonders for immigration. When there was a huge class action about retroactivity, lawyers did a wonderful job. Immigration lawyers are constantly doing things that maybe the public does not know, but it shapes the law of Canada, because we're still a jurisdiction that is governed by statutes and regulations and case law. So cases that lawyers take to court are very, very, in many cases, shape the law. One quick example is, if you apply to immigrate to Canada as a business person, and you are refused because your child or someone in your family is medically inadmissible, has a medical condition, and the visa officer refuses it, in the past you would be refused because one person is ineligible, so the whole family's application gets refused. But thanks to one lawyer who took a case, and thanks to his client who was able to pay the fees, take the case to federal court and go all the way up to the highest level. The case is Hilowitz. Now, if you apply under the business category and there is someone who is not who's medically inadmissible, it's not necessary that the visa officer will refuse your case, because there are certain ways of dealing with it and proving that that is not a bar to being admissible, because the embassies do keep track what kind of lawyer, who is sending what kind of applications. So as a lawyer myself, I care about two things: about preserving my status as a lawyer, not getting reported, and secondly, preserving my good reputation with Immigration Canada. And there are several embassies we deal with that where we have a large number of clients. The embassy knows and appreciates the way we present our cases. Just like you'd buy a car, it's buyer beware. You know, you're free to do anything yourself, you're free to go to a consultant, you're free to go to a lawyer, but it's what you buy in the end, the service you get, and then always ask for reference. And I personally am very happy when people ask me, are you a lawyer or a consultant? And secondly, what's the difference between a lawyer and a consultant? And finally, they always ask, do I have to hire you? I always say, you don't have to, but these are the reasons why people hire me. So if you're still thinking about hiring a lawyer, we'll be happy to help you.